Well, for more, we can cross to our correspondent in Brussels, Dave Keating. Dave, this isn't the first time Volodymyr Zelensky has addressed EU leaders. On the contrary, is this set to be any different?
Well, this is, as you say, this is not the first time that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has come to these council summits to join the 27 national EU leaders. But this visit has an extra sense of urgency. He's about to arrive here at the summit momentarily behind me, and then at 11 o'clock, he's going to have a press conference with Charles Michel, the outgoing chair of the European Council, to present his victory plan. Now, this is a plan that he presented to the Ukrainian parliament yesterday. The reason he's come here to present it to EU leaders is to convince them to continue their support for Ukraine. Right now, there is a block on funds, loans, that the EU is supposed to disperse to Ukraine as part of an agreement in the context of the G7. However, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian prime minister, is blocking that. Hungary right now is chairing meetings of the council, and they're saying that no decision on disbursement of those funds should be taken until the results of the U.S. election on November 5th are known. Donald Trump has made no secret of the fact that he does not intend to continue aid to Ukraine, that he intends to end the war even before he takes office, most assumedly by pressuring Ukraine to surrender to Russia and cede territory. So the big question is whether Europe will or even could continue its support for Ukraine all by itself. And the Hungarians are saying we need to know the result of that election before we invest any further in Ukraine's defense. So Zelensky will be trying to convince Viktor Orban in particular to drop that block. We'll see if that's successful. But overall, this really shows we're in a kind of holding pattern in Brussels right now as people await the result of the U.S. election, not just for Ukraine, but on a lot of issues. And it really shows how dependent Europe still is on the United States.
And Dave, what can we expect to be said on another hot topic, migration?
Yeah, migration is going to dominate this summit once the Ukrainian president leaves. And that's because of an abrupt change that came from European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Monday. She sent out a letter in advance of the summit to all 27 of the leaders, changing the Commission's position, essentially, on a very controversial, which is these processing centers in third countries outside the EU. As you mentioned, Italy has just started a program with Albania. They sent the first asylum seekers over there this week. And in her letter, von der Leyen said that the EU should consider making that an EU-wide program, and possibly that she would be coming out with a new proposal on the returns directive to that effect. Now, several leaders have reacted angrily to that, saying that that is unconscionable, that it violates international law. There's basically three camps here. The first camp, led by Giorgia Meloni of Italy, is they want specific conclusions issued today that would spell out exactly how an EU-wide system for these third country hotspots would work. There's another camp that wants vague language for now while they continue exploring the idea. And then there's another camp that does not want any mention of this at all. In particular, the euphemism that keeps being used for that, which is, quote, innovative solutions. We heard a lot of leaders as they were coming in behind me this morning talking about innovative solutions. Everyone knows that means hotspots. This is somewhat like the Rwanda plan that the previous Conservative government in the UK unsuccessfully tried to get started. It's controversial. Back in 2018, the Commission said that such a scheme would violate EU law. So we'll see what those conclusions look like at the end of today.
All right, Dave Keating, thank you very much for following that summit for us from Brussels.